Hey, let's just jump right into it because I know there's a lot of stuff going on, and
Yeah.
I think we all want to talk about Corona cards to begin with. So,
Okay.
what's up with
Well,
that?
last week we announced CoronaCards. CoronaCards is a way to take Corona technology and allow you to use it in your existing native app. So if you have an existing native app done in Xcode and later on Android or Windows, or you're using a framework, anything like PhoneGap or Appcelerator or Xamarin or even Unity, and you want to kind of mix and match, you're now able to create what we call a Corona view and run your Corona content inside that view, and you can place it just like any other view, in a normal view. So, like if you're familiar with iOS programming, you're familiar with things like UI views. Everything in iOS is a UI view. It's a hierarchy of these different views. So examples are text fields or labels or buttons. UI buttons are views. Everything's a view, and so Corona is just another view, just like you might want to embed a web view inside your native app. So you can do sort of anything you want with Corona. We've also structured in such a way that you can communicate between your Corona view, your Lua content, and your iOS code. So if you want to send events back and forth, you can basically create and send Lua tables out to Objective-C, and they get translated into NS dictionaries. And if you want to send NS dictionaries from your iOS code back into Corona your Lua code, they'll get translated back into a Lua table. And so we're doing something very similar on Android as well when it comes out. So currently we're in a closed beta, so if you're interested, you can, I believe, just go to coronacards.com. That's CoronaCard with an S, plural. We could not get the actual singular version of the domain. Someone else took it, so we got the plural version of the domain. But you can go to that site, and I think there's a sign up for closed beta that you can sign up for. And so we're starting to roll out seeds to people. I think we actually already rolled out a seed to several folks who've applied. And we'll continue to roll that out as we go forward.
That's pretty awesome. So, how is this different than, let's say, like Enterprise, where you do native app development there?
So the big difference is, I think, just to take a step back and put it in context, if you use Corona SDK or Corona Enterprise, you're sort of embracing the full Corona application stack. You're basically saying you're going to let Corona control everything, from how the application boots up to how it shuts down to all the connection points to system events, like everything from like when it suspends or when it resumes to all those things. To low memory events and things like that, you're letting Corona sort of take care of all of that. When you're using Corona cards, you've got your existing application stack. Maybe you built a new template from Xcode. Maybe you built your own PhoneGap application, or you have your existing Unity application. You can then say, you know what, I want to add some cool 2D stuff, 2.5D stuff, and I want to leverage Corona because it's just a lot easier. Or I want to add interactivity or punch up my business app that I wrote in PhoneGap. Or I want to add sort of like a 2D overlay on top of Unity. You can use Corona cards to do that. And so that's the big difference. Is in Corona cards, you don't own the application stack. You're sort of a citizen that plays within another world.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. That's
I was wondering. Okay, so I don't do PhoneGap development, but as I understand it, it kind of needs an internet connection to do things most of the time. Is there a local storage on PhoneGap? Does anybody know?
I'm not an expert on PhoneGap, but I believe your HTML files are actually local, just like if you had a local web view that you wanted to create a native app.
So I was thinking if you took something like that and then you took Corona, then you could do local storage using SQLite or something like that. I mean, would that be a kind of an example of marrying the two together?
That would be one example. I think the examples that we've gotten based on some of the beta signups have been folks who are doing lots of business apps today, and they're saying, hey, I want to add cool interactivity because PhoneGap's great for business apps where you have kind of like very data-centric kind of things, and you've got sort of lists of things. But if you want to do things that involve graphics, physics, if you want to do even a photo editing thing, or you want to do some sort of visualization, Corona is definitely the tool that you want to use. And so someone today who's developing says, oh, well, gosh, Corona's got all these great visualization things. PhoneGap's got all these great business things. How do I do both? Right. So today you sort of have to choose between PhoneGap or Corona. But with Corona, in terms of, or yesterday, before you had to choose between PhoneGap and Corona. Today, with CoronaCards, you'll be able to say, you know what, I can get the best of both worlds. I can say, you know what, I have all this great stuff in PhoneGap, and I can bring CoronaCards in, and then I can now add visualization to my PhoneGap app.
Very cool. Does anybody on the panel have any questions about how that works, or any Corona card related stuff?
I got a couple questions.
Okay.
Sure.
Key inputs, is that feature still available? So if I'm running a CoronaCards app, can it still detect standard key inputs, whatever it would normally be able to?
I'm not sure. That's something we'll have to double check on.
Okay.
There's certainly ways in which, as an iOS developer, you could hook up to listen to keyboard events in your existing application and then forward them to Corona. So it's certainly possible to connect those two pieces with CoronaCards. The question, though, is whether or not we automatically sniff for those keyboard events. That's I'm not sure about. But there's certainly, with CoronaCards, you have sort of at your disposal the ability to be a normal iOS developer and access all those features and then connect them up to the Corona view, just like you would with any other normal view as a native developer.
So, all right, thank you. My other question was, I'm sorry, I'm so question-oriented here.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
My other question was, okay, so CoronaCards is developed to launch as part of another harnesses mobile, I'm not saying this right, so it's designed for other mobile apps to use to do rich media and things like that.
Right.
Is it possible in the case, I know Unity is listed as one of the target platforms, or I don't know,
supported.
Platform's not the right word, but can you run CoronaCards in the PC version of Unity?
Well, so CoronaCards is based on the same core technology that Corona SDK and Enterprise are based on. And so whatever technologies that core technology supports, or whatever platforms that core technology runs on, is what CoronaCards could run on. So today, our core technology only runs, or we've only kind of polished for iOS, Android, and soon Windows Phone 8.
Mm-hmm.
So that's sort of what you would be able to run CoronaCards on.
Okay.
However, yeah, so that's number one. We could conceive of a future in which it might work on Macintosh and Windows as a desktop app, but certainly our energies right now are focused on iOS and Android and Windows Phone 8. This is probably a little bit tangential, but we did also, as you may have seen, announce a preview, give you a teaser of the HTML5 WebGL support. So the idea would be that the core technology could then work on any WebGL-enabled browser. Which sort of gets you on the desktop in a different way than you might have been thinking.
You can kind of see where I'm going with these questions, right?
Yeah.
Charles knows, because I've asked this question more directly about, without taking away from the announcement here, which is exciting and interesting, I'm always thinking, is there some way to get Corona on my PC to make basically a PC app or a PC game? So I'm always striving for that.
Yeah, I know there was one question. I know that Jordan Schutz had been, very excited about the announcement, and ultimately he wants to be able to put things on like the Wii U and on Xbox One and all those things like that. And I think that there was, like you were saying, it's not going to do that today. Is that correct?
Right. CoronaCards doesn't change anything about whether our core technology runs on the Wii or not. That would still have to be something we would port to the Wii directly, and then that's something we can make available via CoronaCards or through even just Corona SDK. We say, hey, here's another platform to deploy to, but it all boils down to the core technology itself.
So let's go back to the HTML5 thing for a moment, because I don't want to glaze over that too quickly.
Actually, can I ask him another question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, you cannot.
You mentioned that you're looking for beta sign-up users, that is. Is there any particular usage that you guys would like to see people do? I mean, I know you want people to go wild with their own ideas, but if you had your druthers, is there any particular thing you'd like to see people try out?
I don't think there's anything in particular. I think we're just interested in seeing people who've worked with existing or alternative technologies, whether it's just being a native iOS or Android developer, or use frameworks on the top of those platforms, who want to then intermix that with with Corona cards and say, I want to put a Corona view and run some Corona content in the same app that I already have.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Okay. Go, Charles.
Charles.
Yes. Go ahead.
I had a question as well.
Absolutely.
I don't want to sound like a prophet of doom, Walter, but this Corona cards, you mentioned something that just created a spark, and that was business or non-gaming apps. And so it's kind of put a question in my mind as to whether this is a step in a direction where Corona may not be supporting non-game or business-type apps, such as the table widgets that we have now and things like that, where you would probably say that, okay, Corona SDK is going to be specifically for game development. If you want to build non-game or business-type apps, then do so using PhoneGap, and then you can include Corona cards to bring in some of the... Would it be fair to say that that's maybe a step in the direction, or am I way off?
Well, I actually haven't even thought about that. I think we just view Corona cards as a great way for people who never really had an opportunity to use Corona suddenly start to use it. People who sort of had to make a choice early on and say, well, gosh, I really wish I could take advantage of Corona, suddenly had the opportunity to take advantage of it. And so that's sort of what the impetus behind Corona cards is. Certainly there are other technologies that are much, more focused on business apps. It's like, PhoneGap and Appcelerator have made no bones about being very focused on those kinds of applications. So certainly we make no bones about saying we're probably not as focused as they are on that thing. So, but certainly those developers, I think, would be interested in taking advantage of Corona. I think we, in the current upcoming public release, we spend a lot of energy trying to improve the widget bug situation. I think the bug count on widgets has gone down considerably to the point where I think we don't see nearly as many people kind of worried about the quality of it. I think people are much happier today about the quality of widgets than they were yesterday. So we are working to improve, the business app situation, but certainly we never made any secret that that has not been our primary focus. So if that's what you're getting at, I can just say, yeah, I can confirm that our story hasn't changed there.
Okay. Thank you.
Charles, can I ask one question?
Absolutely.
So why wouldn't I just build all of my apps as native apps now, and and what would be my experience inside of Xcode if I wanted to do debugging and editing? Would it be a step above what I have with Sublime, or would it be a step backwards?
Well, if you've ever used Xcode's editing, you know it's a step backwards. Sublime, I often use Xcode and start using Sublime keyboard shortcuts, and and then I find myself having to open up Sublime because I can't stand using the Xcode editor anymore after using Sublime. So that's certainly a step backwards. But in answer to your question, I think there are many reasons why if you would continue to use just Corona SDK or Enterprise, and part of that is because we take care of a lot of things for you that you would normally not have to worry, that you would suddenly have to start worrying about if you're a native developer. And there's a lot of things there around the application stack scaffolding, all those things. You, as a Corona SDK developer, you just don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about how Xcode works. You don't have to worry about all these things like what are delegates, where do delegate methods go, should I create a new class or not create a new class. I mean, some of the folks internally who are more Lua-based folks here just on our team who use mostly just Lua, they start asking us. We had them try out Corona cards, and they asked us a couple questions, and they're like, how would I know how to do this X or Y or Z? Like, how do I know where to put this delegate method or what rule this is? And our answer is like, well, you're not going to like the answer to this, but these are just things you just sort of know as a native developer that we take care of for you. And they suddenly really appreciate how much we take care of them for them in Corona SDK. And so, my answer is I think if you want a lot more, if you're the kind of guy or gal, not to be that is used to doing native development or has come from another environment, Corona cards is perfect for you. If you've been a normal Corona SDK developer for a long time, we think you should stick with Corona SDK. It's sort of a matter of what fits your workflow the best. And so Corona cards was just designed to say, hey, we see that there's this alternative workflow, and we think a way to kind of expose Corona to those developers is through CoronaCards. So they don't have to basically say, you know what, I'm going to abandon all this other stuff.
Can I say something?
Oh, hold on. I just wanted to say, Walter, I noticed on the homepage it says any app, platform, or device. So it still kind of speaks to that cross-platform spirit.
Right, exactly. So, if you could have two different code bases, one in iOS and one in Android. They're completely different implementations. But the nice thing is if you use CoronaCards to do your visualization or even do a mini game, you could write in Corona, and the goal is that it would work cross-platform. So that spirit is still there for sure.
Ed, did you have a question?
No, not a question. I just wanted to feel like we got not derailed, but I know there's probably some confusion around CoronaCards and what it means to the developer. But I think part of what Corona is looking to do here is provide people with a way to provide rich content, be it advertisements or mini applications or games that can be embedded anywhere else, or relatively anywhere else, several different locations, and still use the core Corona technology. So, in a sense, do something that's really difficult in other technologies easily in Corona and then distribute it on those other platforms.
No, that's actually a great way of putting it. So that's exactly it.
Gold star for Ed. Does anybody else have any other questions? I see there's some people on mute. Okay, yeah, go, Denny.
I signed up for the beta, so where is it?
I'm sorry?
He wants to know where...
I signed up for the beta page. Yeah, give me
Well,
it.
I actually don't run that part. I'll pass along your desire.
I'm interested in seeing how it works with Unity, so yeah,
Okay.
I'd be interested to try it out.
Yeah, very cool.
Okay.
So let's go back. I keep wanting to go back to that HTML5 piece because I feel like there's going to be some questions about that, maybe a little bit of confusion and excitement and all that kind of stuff like that. I was hoping that Sergey would be able to join us today because he actually reverse engineered the thing over the weekend and ported his app that he had created at a game jam and put it out on in a Chrome browser, which was pretty cool. So just tell us more about the HTML5 part of CoronaCards and that strategy.
Well, so one thing is that I think because we announced it right after CoronaCards, people associated with CoronaCards, it's more just we're showing out the core technology can run on HTML5. We haven't actually figured out all the details of what product it falls under and all those kinds of things. So it's just that Corona can now run as another platform, and WebGL is just another platform we can target. And so basically we decided it was like, hey, WebGL is starting to kind of mature. It's still not quite there. I mean, there's a few browsers that have it on by default, and some browsers have it off, like Safari on the Mac. You have to turn it on explicitly before you can see anything. But we're starting to see WebGL really kind of mature enough so that it could be an interesting target. And so we have this great OpenGL engine. So we decided, let's see how we can get it to run on top of WebGL. And so we said, hey, let's just do a quick experiment. So we basically said, let's see where it goes. And so what we showed you last Friday, what I blogged, was basically giving you a sense of, we actually think this could actually be a very interesting target that's actually possible. And so our goal right now is to figure out how we can get this into your hands in a way that is scalable. Right now, I think we could get it in someone's hands, but we could probably only support 1 or 2 people. So we're trying to figure out, okay, how can we get this so we can get it to more people? So that's the next step now. Say, okay, the next step is, just like with CoronaCards, we want to try to get it in people's hands. We're also now working on HTML5, sort of in parallel, and saying, hey, let's get this into people's hands, and let them really take advantage of it. So we think it's actually a pretty exciting thing because suddenly you could distribute not just to mobile devices, but even to desktop browsers that support WebGL and beyond.
Okay. If anybody on the panel has any questions, go ahead and ask them. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to GDC. Any announcements coming out of GDC?
Walter, on the HTML5 port version of Corona, however you want to wrap that up.
Right.
I think I'm really excited about it. I mean, just purely from the standpoint of being able to put it on a different platform or on a PC. But one of the things that's been missing from my ability to advertise my games as a developer is it's nice to have, sure, you can distribute it on the devices, but to give somebody a taster on your website and like do a couple levels right off your website, that would make this possible. And so,
yep, absolutely. I was actually going to mention that's one possible use case we thought about is saying, hey, why don't we give people ability to create these teasers on their websites and then somehow link them to, as they install now.
Right. So you can't go home. You're going to have to stay at work until this is working, all right?
Sorry?
You can't go home. You're going to have to stay at work until this is all working, all right?
He sleeps under his desk. What are you talking about?
I figured that was probably...
What do you mean? I'm coding right now. You just can't see it.
Not to take away from that, but you can do that currently with app.io. You can create a simulator build of your app and submit it there. They run it in their cloud, and then they stream it to your browser. Works pretty well.
Wow.
Yeah. We want a Corona solution now.
How interactive can that be, though? How does it perform? And can you click on it and it'll do things like?
Oh yeah, I've got a full scrolling game. I've got a full scrolling game out there, and it works just fine. They were running Retina display for a while there, and I talked to them, and they changed to non-Retina, and they're streaming really well now.
Well, but interactivity, like if you have touch events and something.
Oh no, it's fine. It's great.
It works. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Because you basically build your app and then you upload it. So you're basically giving away your paid app for free.
Oh.
Ed,
Yeah, Jensen's happy about that.
Free is no good.
No, you can build a scaled down one. Like I took out a bunch of menu items and stuff like that.
I know.
What's the link? I got app.io in the thing there, but that just leads me to a hello page.
App.io? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get anything for that. Okay, I'm distracting. Sorry. I'll
post it in the chat room.
Roger that. Thanks.
Okay, cool. Any other questions? Okay, so tell us about GDC. I know that's coming up in
so GDC's coming up. So as you all know, we're working with Microsoft on the port to Windows Phone 8. So I think what we've got planned is they want to have some hands-on lab sessions where you get to, I guess they want to introduce a lot of these Microsoft developers and people in the Microsoft developer community to Corona. So we're going to install a simulator with a special version of the simulator with the Windows Phone skin, so you can play with previewing your app in the Windows Phone, and we'll also be allowing them to. I guess we're actually working some of the Corona developers in our community to port some of their apps and have them run as demos on devices, so that people can actually see actual Corona apps running on Windows phones. So that'll be happening on the GDC show floor. So we'll be there. With the Microsoft folks, and then also if any of you have to be out here, we're also co-sponsoring a party with NativeX, which is another ad provider that we've been talking to a lot lately, and so so a lot of cool things happening at GDC.
Sounds like fun. Yeah, I'll post a link in the show notes to both the party and all the announcements and things like that. Does anybody else have any other questions or anything for Walter? I know he needs to go, chain himself back to his desk.
I want to hear the chain rattle.
You want? That's a soundbite, sir.
Bad time, Walter.
It's
Thanks
a digital
lot,
chain.
Walter.
It's a digital chain.
There it is. There was did you hear it?
Yeah.
I did one more question for Walter. This is probably a little bit off subject.
Okay.
I'll make it quick. I just got off the email from a representative from KIP, K-I-I-P, an ad network. They said that they're wrapping up a wrapper for their service. Do you know anything about that?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Woo.
Wrapping up.
Is that a plugin or a wrapper or some fantastic thing?
They said it was a wrapper. I assume they're going to add it to their list of SDKs that they already have Unity and PhoneGap.
Oh, for Corona. Okay.
Right.
I had not heard anything, but that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, it would be. Okay, I was just wondering if you knew. Okay.
They're digital rewards, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Very nice.
You know, that's awesome.
So you do so many workouts and you get a ticket to Starbucks so you can blow all those calories.
Right.
That's the use case, right? Is that the use case?
The use case, that's what I'm going for.
All right, guys. Well, let's let Walter go back to whatever he was doing. And thanks, Walter, for being here and sharing
Thanks for having me on board. So
yeah.
all right.
Cool.
Have a
See
good
you
one.
later.
Hey, Walter.
Okay, bye.